What's going on, guys? This is Will. I am back because I have learned something new today. I found out that I ended up on the AntiFa Alt-Lite list. So I did a live stream back in November of 2017, November 4th, of a protest that Antifa had organized. And if you see here, they did this article back in November 15th. And there I am. That's very interesting. Again, I had no idea about any of this until today. So, how about that? It's interesting. So, if I scroll down to B, the group, see, they group people by different, letters, different categories. So, I ended up in the miscellaneous participants, the alt-light group. Ooh. So, I'll just read these two paragraphs. They're not very long. Individuals associated with the alt-right, that is, people who agree with the alt-right's anti-feminist, anti-leftist, immigrant-bashing, and Islamophobic agenda, but who stop short of explicitly embracing white nationalism, also tried to refuse fascism event. One individual showed up with a sign promoting Alex Jones' conspiracy-mongering InfoWars website. Earlier, he had stuck a trail of InfoWars stickers throughout the area. Other alt-right figures showed up to livestream the event. One of them, American nationalist Joe Proenza, tried to pass himself off as a leftist, which for him meant not shaving and wearing state of California clothing. Another alt-right figure, this is good. Another alt-right figure, Bitcoin enthusiast William Blackburn. Hey, look, Bitcoin's the future, I'm telling you. Just went as himself to live stream. Wow, I went as myself. Well, what am I going to do? And what am I going to show up as Mickey Mouse? These people are crazy. I mean, of course I'm going to show up as myself. I'm not going to go there as, dressed up as Barney or Mickey Mouse or Superman or Spider-Man. It's ridiculous. I mean, come on, give me a break. This is stupid. But I am a Bitcoin enthusiast. I do like cryptocurrencies. I think it does have great potential for the future. I'm against corporate cryptocurrencies like Libra with Facebook, but I do believe that there is a future for cryptocurrencies in general. But I wouldn't say I'm an enthusiast. I've been involved in the space for a long time, but I'm not like, I'm not like some of these guys who are all day, all the time in crypto. I mean, I don't live and breathe it. I like it, but I don't live and breathe it. So, if I scroll down, you will see that I am right here. And all they could get was the back of my head, which, by the way, looks pretty fresh. My hair looks on point. It is not a mess, which is good. I like that. So I will say thank you for the flattering photo, even if it is the behind the backside of my head, which is fine. I don't care. But because of this whole ordeal, I have decided to take the political compass test because I believe that Antifa should know what my politics are before they start calling me all these different labels, because I am not necessarily alt-right. I don't necessarily I'm not anti-feminist. I'm not I'm not Islamophobic. I'm not any of that nonsense. So let's go through this. I'm going to kind of run through this because it's 6 pages long. So, I'm going to try and make it, I don't want to bore you guys out. So if economic globalization is inevitable, it should primarily serve humanity rather than the interests of transnational corporations. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course it should agree. It should serve the people, not the corporations. Even though I'm against globalization in general, but if it were. But anyway, I'd always support my country whether it was right or wrong. I disagree with that. I do not support my country in everything that they do. I'm not blindly dumb. I don't just walk into something. I mean, give me a break. No one chooses his or her country of birth, so it's foolish to be proud of it. I disagree with that because, if... Here's the deal. I'm proud of this country because of its history, because of what we were able to accomplish. I mean, we've been pretty much the most successful country in the world, in the history of the world. And we've built unbelievable things in our country. I mean, We've developed all kind of technologies, all kind of sciences, medicines, all of it. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We are the apple of the world's eye. We have been, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud that there is, we have that history, and I think it would not be fair of me to say that I'm not proud of that. So no, I disagree with that. I don't think it's foolish to be proud of your country in the first place. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're born in that country or not. If you live there and you're proud of it, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, so our race has many superior qualities compared with others. Strongly disagree with that because I think that, I do believe that there are obvious physical differences and some other things as well, cultural differences maybe, but for the most part, no. I don't think that any race is superior to any other race. That's ridiculous. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, no matter what color, what gender, whatever we are. I mean, it's just So no, I disagree with that. I strongly disagree with that. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. I will disagree with that because I don't really know who the enemy of my enemy is, right? I mean, if let's say that the enemy of our enemy is someone who also hates us, then no, they're not our friend. It doesn't matter. They're still our enemy. So yeah, I kind of disagree with that. Military action that defies international law is sometimes justified. This is a tough question because I'm not an interventionist, right? I'm a peace-loving guy. I don't want war. I want less war, in fact. But in this particular instance, in this particular test, I think that I tend to. Do I agree with that or do I disagree with that? I'll agree with it. I'll agree with it because you never know. The thing is about, well, that's another video for another time. We'll dig into that some other time. There is now a worrying fusion of information and entertainment. Yes, I strongly agree with that. Politics is not necessarily, should not be Saturday Night Live. I mean, give me a break. Well, I mean, okay, take that back. These nighttime shows, late night shows with, Jimmy Fallon or whatever, they should not be politicized as much as they are. And they're not just politicized, they're weaponized. So, yes, there is a worrying merger between these industries. It's very, very dangerous, I think. So, okay, people are ultimately divided more by class than nationality. Yes, I agree with that because that is the way things are, as it seems. I mean, if you're ultra elite, then you're very different than someone who's living in the slums, and people will classify that, right? I mean, I don't think, no, I agree that is the way it is. I don't necessarily agree that's the way it should be, per se, but I agree that is the way it is. Controlling inflation is more important than controlling unemployment. I disagree, and I'll tell you why. Because the free market is a great tool, and you should not mess with the free market. You should just allow it to be what it is. So if the natural prices are going to go up, the prices are going to go up. If they go down, then they go down. Inflation and deflation. Let the free market decide for that. And I think it's better that people are going to work instead of being out on the streets, even if they are not necessarily making the highest wage in the world. So, no, I disagree with that. Because corporations cannot be trusted to voluntarily protect the environment, they require regulations. Yeah, I'll agree with that. And the reason why is because, so my granddad served in Congress, as some of you know, and he voted for the EPA under the Nixon administration. So he was one of the guys who voted in favor of it in founding the EPA. And the reason was because there was so much, at the time, there was so much pollution being spit out by these corporations that, and I cannot remember the name of the river or anything like that, but there was so much pollution on it that the river literally caught fire because it was so bad, and it killed a lot of wildlife and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of the tipping point for the EPA's founding. So that's very interesting. I agree that there needs to be some regulation, but I disagree in overregulation, especially what the EPA is doing right now, because they're weaponizing the EPA, as a matter of fact. So if I asked my granddad today, what do you think of the EPA? He would say, I disagree with what they're doing because they're weaponized. So yeah, I tend to agree that there should be some regulation, but we have to be careful about how much regulation. From each according to his ability to each according to his need. Strongly disagree. I'm not a Marxist. Get out of here. So it's a sad reflection on our society that something as basic as drinking water is now a bottled, branded consumer product. I disagree with that. I mean, look, if you want to get water, you can go to your faucet, you can filter it out, and then you can put it in your own bottle. It's not like, I think that's a little ridiculous. I do believe too. I will say this, that this whole Nestle thing that happened out in California. Again, I don't want to get too much into the details because I just can't remember right now. But them trying to take over these water sources, it's not good, right? Not good. That I do have a problem with, but I don't think that that's a bad thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with bottling up some water and selling it. So next one, land shouldn't be a commodity to be bought and sold. Disagree. I disagree with that. Well, wait, yeah, land should. Yeah, okay. I had to reread that. I think that land is it should be sold as a commodity. Should be sold as, I mean, if you own the land, if your families own the land for forever and you want to sell it, fine, sell it, and then someone else goes buys it. Land is a great investment, by the way. If you don't know, buy as much land as you can because that tends to be a great return on investment in the long run. Even if you don't necessarily get to reap the benefits of that, maybe your kids will, maybe their kids will. So, no, I think it's fine to do that. I mean, what else are you gonna do with it? Give me a break. So, all right, land. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes. And one other thing about this land thing. So, if we didn't have land to sell, then we would not have cities to build. So, if we didn't have, let's put it this way, Atlanta is a good example because it's built on land, right? And somebody had to buy that land, or, well, I guess in the case of maybe they conquered it in some case, but some of that land was bought and they built buildings on it and it helped the economy and it helped the surrounding areas. So, no, I think, people can benefit from that. It's better than the government coming in and just annexing it. I mean, give me a break. So, anyways, let's move to the next one. It is regrettable that many personal fortunes are made by people who simply manipulate money and contribute nothing to their society. Many personal fortunes are made by people who simply. That I actually agree with because George Soros, for example, he's a money manipulator. These Wall Street banksters, they're unbelievable. I mean, they just manipulate the currencies. They crash the markets. They buy it at the bottom. Then they jack up the price. They crash the market again. They buy it again. So yeah, it is a sad thing. I wouldn't say regrettable. I think it's actually criminal to a certain extent. And yeah, I think that there is some level of truth to that. Yeah. So okay, we're gonna go to the next one. Protectionism is sometimes necessary in trade. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you're not protecting your country, what are you doing? I mean, give me a break. In fact, I'll even strongly agree with that. Because you got to protect your own assets. In a business deal, you don't want to just bend over and give yourself, expose yourself to getting screwed. I mean, that's a terrible idea. You'd be a terrible businessman, and you would not have a business for very long if you did that. So yeah, I think that should be some protectionism. The only social responsibility of a company should be to deliver a profit to its shareholders. Disagree. Um, I I think that I don't think that companies should be getting into culture as much. I think that they should be focused on selling a product and selling a good product. I don't think that it's necessarily, though. Well, yeah, no. I think this is okay. I mean, I don't necessarily see this as a bad thing. Corporate politics and public entities and stuff like that, it kind of gets muddied, and there's more to that, and I'd have to really dig into it. But I'm already at 14 minutes, so I'm gonna have to keep going. I'm gonna have to really crank through these. I'm only on page 2.5. The rich are too highly taxed. No, I agree with that because they do pay the most. I do believe a little bit. I believe in trickle down economics. I believe it does work. It has been proven to do so, and I don't think the rich are really That's not really a great question. I believe that corporations and businesses are taxed too much. People, I don't even necessarily believe in taxes to begin with. So that kind of, yeah, I believe in tariffs to fund a government. That forces the government to be smaller. But anyway, that's another topic. Those with the ability to pay should have access to higher standards of medical care. Why not? My video just went out, so hold on. I'm going to. Okay. I don't know why my camera just went out, but I probably need to get a new one. But that's okay. We'll keep going. I'm not even going to edit this out because I just don't even want to worry about that. So let's do. Okay, so yes, those who have the ability should be able to access higher standards of medical care. Yeah, I mean, why not? I don't necessarily. I will say that I disagree with insurance, and I've made that point on my channel that I disagree with the concept of insurance to begin with because it forces the costs to go higher. And these doctors and these medical facilities, they know they can charge pretty much whatever they want because the government or the insurance company is going to pay for it. So they don't care what the price is. So if there was no insurance, prices would be forced to be lowered significantly. I do believe that. So no, but if you want, I mean, I don't see any reason why you shouldn't have access to higher standards of care if you have the money for it. I don't think it should be there should be a lower medical standard. I do believe that it should be fairly, at least at a base, at the there should be a level, right, where it starts, right? I mean, anyway, that's going to be another topic for another time. Let's just keep going. Government should penalize businesses that mislead the public. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that. If it's misleading, then yeah, sure. A genuine free market requires restrictions in the ability of predator multinationals to create monopolies. Requires restrictions on the ability of. Yes, I do agree with some of that. Egads. Now this actually is a trick question. This is actually a tough one. I think that a genuine. So I'm a very free market guy. I think that we have in our culture right now, and what we have built in our society is pretty much a fascist government. Shocker. Even though I get called a fascist, but basically fascism is just corporate and government entities working together to help control society. That's all that is. That's what the Nazis did. I mean, what do you do? So you know what? I'm actually going to disagree with that because I think that a true free market is a self-regulating system. I believe a true free market, again, a real free market is a self-regulating system that will ultimately cut down on the amount of monopolies and the amount of predatory companies that are out there. So let's go. The freer the market, the freer the people. Yes, I strongly agree with that, actually. I strongly agree with that. Okay. Okay. Abortion, when the woman's life is not threatened, should always be illegal. I disagree with that. I mean, look, abortion is not my social. When it comes to social things, I tend to be a little more liberal. I don't think that abortion should be illegal. I don't. I mean, I'm not going to support it, and I don't think we should be praising it as this glorious, wonderful, freeing thing. You're ending a life. I don't care what you say. I mean, you're ending a potential life that, I don't necessarily. I don't like abortion. I will say that, but I don't think it should be illegal. All authority should be questioned. Yeah, I think it should be. I think that it's healthy to have some speculation on whether a government is I think that it should be questioned, yes, because it keeps the authority in check. An eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. Ooh, this is kind of a tough one. This is a difficult one. You know what? I'm gonna agree a little bit. I'll let me explain this one because I'm not a barbarian, so like if you steal something, I don't think your hand should be chopped off. That's ridiculous. But I do think that let's say you slandered somebody, you've caused damage to this person's name, and it's cost them a lot of money. They've lost a ton of money on it. They lost their job, etc. All because of a lie, a slanderous lie. I think that yeah, you should the person who did the slandering, they should pay up and cover the costs of what that is. So maybe that is what this means. Maybe not. I think that's what it means, but I will agree with it a little bit. Taxpayers should not be expected to prop up any theaters or museums that cannot survive on a commercial basis. I agree with that because as much as I like to go to museums and everything like that, it's just we gotta we don't want government in more things than we should, right? We don't want them to be in too many things. Schools should not make classroom attendance compulsory. Ooh, that's a difficult one because I'm not a big fan of school as it is. So, yeah, I'll agree with that. I actually will agree with that, and the reason why is because let's say the parent disagrees with certain ideologies that the school is putting forth, right? Then yeah, I mean you should pull your kid out and do your own deal, right? And homeschool them. So, no, I'll disagree with that. I can disagree with that. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. Okay, this is a little bit confusing. Let me reread that. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. Ew, this is a really weird question. I don't really know. I might skip this one because I don't really understand that question very much. Like I think that everybody should have equal rights under the eyes of the law as far as a constitution, right? Everybody should have their right to free speech. Everybody should have their right to own a weapon, own a gun to defend themselves. Everybody should have the right to privacy. I believe in that, but I don't know if that's what this is saying per se. Okay, so good parents sometimes have to spank their children. I agree. I mean, I got spanked, so what can I say? I turned out okay. Well, it depends on who you ask, I guess. It's natural for children to keep some secrets from their parents. I disagree with that, even though I know it happens all the time. I think that any kind of secret being kept from anybody can ultimately it can be destructive to a relationship. Um, so possessing marijuana for personal use should not be a criminal offense. Yeah, I strongly agree with that. I think it's ridiculous. The prime function of schooling should be to equip the future generation to find jobs. Yes, I strongly agree with that. That's the whole freaking point of school. I mean, you go to school, you learn a skill, and you get a job. Or you start a business, or you do something else. But pretty much, yes, it should be to find jobs. That only makes sense. Or build the future. People with serious inheritable disabilities should not be allowed to reproduce. I disagree with that. I mean, look, if the thing is if you have a serious disability anyway, you're probably not going to be able to reproduce. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I don't disagree that you shouldn't be able to, reproduce. I'm not like that. So the most important thing for children to learn is to accept discipline. I disagree. I disagree with that. And the reason is because what if that discipline is unjustified? I mean, there are legitimate circumstances where maybe the police don't, or let me put it this way, maybe the discipline is unjustified, right? I mean, it is totally possible that is the case. So, and there's many instances throughout history to see this, but I won't go into those here. There are no savage and civilized people. There are only different cultures. Disagree. Because, I mean, there are savage cultures. I mean, I'm sorry, but there are people that are Neanderthals that, I mean, give me a break. Okay, I see Neanderthals, kind of mean. But there are very backward societies. I mean, there are certain areas in the world that still practice female genital mutilation, for example. That's a very savage thing to do. And in civilized societies, we don't practice that anymore. It's not cool. Those who are able to work and refuse the opportunity should not expect society's support. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, if you're perfectly able to work, get a job, then do that. But if you decide not to do that, I don't want to pay for you. Actually, I'm going to strongly agree with that. When you are troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy with more cheerful things. When you're troubled, it's better not to think about it, but to keep busy. Egads. I can disagree with that because I think that it is good to reflect. I am a strong believer in reflection. In my own personal life, I've been able to do that, and it has helped me cope with things. It has helped me get through things. So, but again, that's a personal thing. I'm not necessarily saying that. I just don't want to be willfully blind to a situation. You know what I mean? I don't want to just be, oh, well, here it is. No. So, yeah, I think you should be able to. You should face your problems. So first generation immigrants can never fully be integrated within their new country. No, I disagree with that. I think that there are plenty of immigrants who have been able to. In fact, I even strongly disagree with that because there are plenty of immigrants who meshed very well with our society. If you look at it, Indians and Asians have meshed very well with American culture. Never had a problem with them. So no. I don't agree with that. I actually strongly disagree with that. Um, okay, so what's good for most successful corporations is always ultimately good for us. Disagree. I totally disagree with that 100%, and I'll tell you why. Because the corporations, they get to tell you what is good for you. No. No broadcasting institution, however independent its content, should receive public funding. Yeah, I actually strongly agree with that. Like, it should not be a publicly funded institution. I think that it should be a private. They should earn their stripes, right? CNN should not be getting money from the government. MSNBC shouldn't be getting money from the government. They shouldn't. Not even saying that they are. I can't verify that one way or the other. But just as an example, I shouldn't be receiving public funds for what I do, for my journalism, which I don't do that much, I know. But yeah, okay, so let's go to the next page. Personal social values. I guess I have to answer this. All people have their rights, but it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. I don't know. This is a tough one. All people have their rights. I agree with that first statement. But it is better for all of us that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. Should keep their own kind of what? Own kind of rights? All is that different sorts of people should keep their own kind. I am going to disagree with it because I don't even understand the question. So we'll go with that. I don't, I'm sure Antifa will twist that in some kind of weird way, but whatever. Our civil liberties are being excessively curbed in the name of counterterrorism. Strongly agree with that. Yes, absolutely. Patriot Act. A significant advantage of a one-party state is that it avoids all the arguments that delay progress and disagree. If we are a one-party state, we are all fucked. I mean, to be honest. Although the electronic age makes official surveillance easier, only wrongdoers need to be worried. Disagree. Strongly disagree. Because it's not about, when it comes to surveillance, it's not about whether or not you're doing something wrong. It's about being able to close your blinds at night so that way no one's peeking in at you. That's all that really is. The death penalty should be an option for the most serious crimes. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think that, if you're a pedophile and you're raping kids, I think that you should just get a bullet to the head. Simple as that. I don't want to be paying for you for the next 25 years. Give me a break. In a civilized society, one must always have people above to be obeyed and people below to be commanded. No, disagree. That's actually where some of the most barbaric civilizations are formed. If you have a hierarchy like that, you have a dictator. So yeah, I disagree with that. Abstract art that doesn't represent anything shouldn't be considered art at all. Yeah, I can agree with that. In criminal justice, punishment should be more important than rehab. Ooh, that's a good question. I think I will agree with that because through the punishment you should be able to rehabilitate. I do believe it is a waste of time. I disagree with that. I disagree that it is a waste of time to rehab criminals because I think everybody has the potential to be good. I think that everybody can be forgiven, right? I think everybody has that. So no, I do not think it is a waste of time to rehab criminals. Some criminals. The business person and the manufacturer are more important than the writer and the artist. Disagree. I do disagree with that. Um, mothers may have careers, but their first duty is to be homemakers. No, I disagree. I mean, if you want to be, fine. If you don't, that's fine too. Either way is fine. Multinational companies are unethically exploiting the plant genetic resources of developing countries. Sometimes they sometimes are. I'll agree with I'll agree with that because I mean there are some companies that are doing it, some aren't. It depends on the company. Again, this is an odd question because some companies are, some companies are not. Making peace with the establishment is an important aspect of maturity. I disagree. I tend to disagree with that because sometimes the establishment is immature. I mean, it's true. It happens. Astrology accurately explains many things. I disagree with that. You cannot be moral without being religious. Disagree with that. Charity is better than social security as a means of helping genuinely. Yes, strongly agree. Because as soon as you put the government in charge of charity work, what are they going to do? They're going to siphon all the money to themselves. These greedy politicians, that's what they do. Charities are the best way, and it's been proven, are the best way to take care of those who are underserved and are not able to, who are disadvantaged. So, yes, I strongly agree with that. So, some people are naturally unlucky. I don't know. I disagree. I think that you can create your own luck to a certain extent. It is important that my child's schools instills religious values. Um, hmm. I actually no, I disagree. I actually disagree with this. And the reason why I went to a Christian school, I grew up in a Christian school. The values that I learned there are good. I actually believe in the morals of Christianity, but I also think that the parents should be the ones responsible for instilling those beliefs in this child, not the schools. The school's job, in my unprofessional opinion, is to teach the child to prepare them for the world, for having a job, for starting a business, for running for politics, or whatever the case is. So yeah, I disagree with that. Finally, let's look at sex. Sex outside of marriage is immoral. Disagree. I mean, if that's what you want to do, fine. Same sex couple in a stable, loving relationship should not be excluded from the possibility of child adoption. I can agree with that. I mean, you know, pornography depicting consenting adults should be legal for the adult population. Yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, come on. What goes in a private bedroom between consenting adults is no business of the state. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, of course. No one can feel naturally homosexual. I disagree with that. I mean, you might be. There's always been fruity men. There's always been butch women. I mean, or manly women, I should say. Yeah, that is what happens. These days, openness about sex has gone too far. Yes, God, I'm so sick of hearing about who you screw every night. I don't care about who you fuck. I really don't care. It doesn't matter. That's not important at all to anybody except for yourself. So let's see where I stand. Where am I? So I'm actually, even if you state imposed collectivism, see, I'm not right winger. I'm even, like, it even says I'm a little leftist. So I ended up right here. So it says, let's take a look. If we recognize that this is essentially an economic line, it's fine as far as it goes. We can show, for example, Stalin with their commitment to a totally controlled economy on the hard left. Socialists is Mahatma Gandhi and Robert Mugabe would occupy a less extreme. Margaret Thatcher would be well over to the right, but further right still would be someone like the ultimate free marketer, General Pinochet. Okay, let's see. Where is... So what... Wait. Oh, this is my... Okay, I'm sorry. This is my political compass. So I'm pretty much right on the border of of left and right. I am not a... Again, I am not an authoritarian. I'm not, I am for free and open individuals. In fact, if we could abolish the government to a certain extent, then I probably would. Yeah, I'm again. This pretty much describes me. This just pretty much describes who I am. I think that's fairly accurate. So let's see if yeah, that's pretty much it. So there you go. That is my political compass. So to Antifa, I am not the alt-right or alt-lite like you think I am. And that is a 36-minute video, so I'm going to end it here. I appreciate it, y'all. Y'all have a good night, and we will talk to y'all soon.